Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein with the big win last night against the Orlando Magic, led by Jaden Hardy's 22 off the bench. Are the Mavericks back in contention for the NBA play-in? We're going to talk about that and more on today's show. But before we get into the rest of today's show, if you think the Mavericks are going to make the play-in tournament, hit that thumbs up icon for me. It's a free and easy way to help out the channel. Our goal for today's show is to get to 200 likes. So if you could, hit that thumbs up icon if you think the Mavs are going to be one of the top 10 seeds in the Western Conference. We take a look at the current Western Conference standings here. And look, the Mavericks currently sitting 10th right now, a half game ahead of the Phoenix Suns, and just a half game behind the Sacramento Kings. So the Mavs could get up to as high as 9th in the Western Conference standings. Now, they obviously could still fall out with Phoenix right on their tails, but the way Phoenix is playing right now, with Anthony Davis back in the fold and playing every game, there is a legitimate shot to make the play-in tournament. I think the Mavs have a legit chance to make the play-in, and with the emergence of Anthony Davis's return, hopefully he's not going to miss any more games and should be able to play out the rest of the season without having to give him games off. I do think that the Mavs have a shot to make this thing, and with 8 games remaining in the season, and we'll take a look at the schedule here and kind of look at what they have to do. Starting Saturday with the Chicago Bulls, then they have the Nets, the Hawks, 2 games with the Clippers, the Lakers, Toronto, and the Memphis Grizzlies, who, by the way, just made one of probably the second worst move in the NBA this year in firing head coach Taylor Jenkins, where Memphis currently sits 4th in the Western Conference. That one makes no sense to me. But you take a look at these 8 games. Does 5-3 get you in the play-in? That gets you like right around 500. I think that if you end up going 5-3, Tex, if we could go back to the schedule, I want to redo that there. I think 5-3 might be enough with your current half-game lead there. Chicago is a game you should be able to win. They just beat the Lakers in crazy fashion last night. Brooklyn, a G League team, you should be able to beat them. Atlanta's a joke. You might be able to beat them. That one's at home. 2 games against the Clippers. Let's say you split those. You'll lose to the Lakers probably. Then you play the Raptors, who are a joke, and Memphis, who maybe by then has their seed locked in and might be sitting everybody. So 5-3 could be realistic, and given the fact that the Mavericks have won 3 of their last 4 games, I'm kind of back in. I won't lie to you. I think that with Anthony Davis, with the emergence of hopefully Jaden Hardy finally with that good game with the Magic will get him going for the rest of the season, I do think that 5-3 could get you in there. And if you do get in, could you win 2 games against 2 of these 3 teams? Minnesota, Golden State, and the Clippers? If you can win 2 games, you find yourselves in the NBA playoffs if you're sitting at the 9 or the 10 seed. I'm not saying it's likely, but I do think there is a possibility that the Mavericks could be playing basketball past Sunday, April 13th. And if you asked me that a week ago, I would have said you are absolutely out of your mind. If you do that, you set up a matchup with Oklahoma City in the 1-8. We know how successful the Mavericks are against OKC in the past couple of years. Of course, that was with Luka and whatnot, but they have beat him without him this year. It'd be an interesting series. I'm not saying the Mavericks would beat OKC, but I do think they could give them a run for their money. So things are getting interesting, and we'll just see what they can do over the final 8 games of the season. We'll get to what Mark Cuban had to say here in just a few moments, but I do need to tell you guys about our sponsor, which of course is PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks has over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, making daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Basketball season is here, and PrizePicks is the best place to win that real money action in over 30 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and, of course, Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. The Sweet 16 games are tonight, and I have a projection for you guys. You can copy my picks or make picks of your own, but I'm going to take the more on Houston's LJ Cryer with 16 points. I'm also going to take the more best player in the country, Janai Broom, 18.5 points. And I'll take the less on Chaz Lanier, 18.5 points, because it's always F the Vols here. Copy my picks or make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app and use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, use code CLNS to get that $50 bonus. That link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. It is PrizePicks. Run your game. Was Mark Cuban screwed by the NBA? According to him, he kind of was. Mark Cuban, this is a crazy story. So somebody commented on their private Facebook page, kind of blasting Mark Cuban for everything that's gone on with the Mavericks. And Cuban went to this guy's page and commented on his own on Facebook. You just don't see famous people ever doing that, but Cuban ended up doing it, and he claimed the NBA would not allow him, as part of the sale agreement with the Adelson family, to run basketball operations for the Mavericks. Here's exactly what he had to say here. Mark Cuban said, "I fully expected to run basketball. The NBA wouldn't let me put it in the contract. They took it out. I thought the Adelsons would stick to their word because they didn't know the first thing about running a team. Someone obviously changed their mind." And in my opinion, this is just a bad look for Mark Cuban. If the trade never happened, none of this ever comes out, and no one's ever saying anything about this, Cuban is trying to absolve himself from any wrongdoing with the Luka trade. Whereas, look, he sold the team. He made his bed. He's got to lay in it. Yeah, if you didn't sell the team, Luka would still be here. But guess what? You did. You got $2.5 billion richer, and Luka is now a Los Angeles Laker. He went on a podcast last week and said he basically sold the circus, and he looks at his bank account and feels better every day. And maybe he does have some seller's remorse, because I do think he is right, where if he did have the team still, Luka would still be a Dallas Maverick if Cuban was in charge. But he did. And so here we are, without our franchise superstar, without any long-term future of this team right now. I just don't have sympathy for Mark Cuban in how he has operated over the past couple of months. He sold the team to the Adelsons. He was the one that made a verbal agreement with them that he's in control of basketball operations. He was the one that didn't get it in writing that he would still control basketball ops. And when the Adelson family decided to push Cuban out the door and do stuff on their own, Cuban had no choice but to sit back because he sold his majority stake. I really don't feel sympathy for him whatsoever on this thing. And maybe that's just me being a hardo, but in my opinion, if he wanted control of the team still, don't sell the team. It's kind of how I look at it. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you wish Mark Cuban still owned the majority of the Mavericks? He still does own 27%. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me know down in the comment section. That is going to do it for today's show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports this week. Big game against the Chicago Bulls tomorrow. If you want the Mavericks to tank, it'd be big to lose. If you want them to make the play-in, it would be big to win. Hopefully the Bulls don't come back from 5 down in 10 seconds like they did against the Lakers and beat us. I'm rooting for the wins. I want to see the Mavs in the play-in at this point. I know I've flip-flopped on this, but I'm officially back in on the team trying to make the play-in. And of course, if anything happens, we will keep you up to date here on the channel. So hit that sub button, and we'll see you soon.